Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Tea Time Live. Something I've actually really enjoyed doing recently. Actually, I do it when I've got time that I didn't know I was going to have. So that's why they've been at slightly different times of the day, slightly different days in the week. But I think that doesn't matter. It's nice to hop on when I get the chance. Usually, it's because, for example, an afternoon lesson has been cancelled, and I think to myself, you know what? I'll just jump on, make a video, do a live. You know, what's the harm in it? um, and so yeah, I mean, it's another hot day today. It's been hot for ages. We did have a bit of rain, I think, at the start of the week, but it was just a dribble really. But it's just, I don't know, it just feels unseasonably warm. I know Sean D. Stanfast was saying it was warm in the UK last week as well, but yeah, it's not particularly pleasant. I am lucky, I suppose, that this house is this flat rather is quite old, so it has very thick stone walls, which tend to keep the temperature down a little bit. So, hey Sonia, good to see you. Hope you're well. Um, yeah, I don't know what you're reading at the moment, Sonia. Hey Jenny, good to see you as well. Good afternoon to you. I'm sorry about the clickbait false advertising on the thumbnail there. There won't be any scones in the video, sadly, but there is a cup of tea. You see, it's not empty. Um, the thing is, I'm getting quite nervous actually because I'm down to my last 5 tea bags. Although I know this is riveting and viewing for you all here now, but I'm going to Prague on Monday. Prague being the capital city here of the Czech Republic, which of course I'm sure you know. But I'm going to meet my first booktuber in real life, so that's really exciting. So hopefully, if things go off well, I'm going to meet the first booktuber that I've been talking to. For a while since I've been doing it. They happen to be coming to this part of the world for their holiday, and we're aiming to meet up on Monday. I won't say who yet because there's that element of surprise. Some of you may know already because I'm not terribly good at keeping secrets, but it will be exciting to meet them and their partner. Unfortunately, I haven't got super long time down there because it's like 2 hours down, 2 hours back. I've got work the next day, and yeah, I can't obviously leave Elvis for too long. But luckily, a friend of mine's decided that they'll take him for the day, so we'll get to spend the day running around the garden, which will be really nice for him. And yeah, I think that's much better than being stuck in the flat for longer than normal. So that would be good. And I plan to visit one of the foreign bookshops down there. And I was looking it up today on the Google Maps and whatever, thinking, yeah, it's been a while since I was last there. And Google told me, it said, yeah, you last visited this location 8 years ago. And I'm thinking, is it 8 years ago? The last time I visited that bookshop? That's terrible. Obviously, I've been to bookshops since. But I thought I'd been to the Globe bookstore in Prague more recently than 8 years ago, but obviously not, I guess. And it's always kind of interesting to go there. Well, after a hiatus of 8 years, but it was interesting the last time I was there, definitely, because they tend to have, of course, standard books and things that you can buy in any bookshop, I suppose, in the English-speaking world. But they also have some different things as well. They sometimes have a lot of more kind of translations of Czech works or other works from Central Europe that you might not just be able to pick up in your local Waterstones, which is kind of fun and exciting. Go through some of the Czech classics and whatnot. And also, I guess because their stock turnover is a bit different, I guess, because they don't probably do a huge amount of business compared to, like, obviously bookshops in the UK, because they stock primarily English books, right? So I guess a lot of expats and immigrants and things like myself probably do go there. But of course, it's a bit pricey. It's pricier than the bookshop would be, than your local bookshop would be, because they have to import these things, and obviously they're paying rent in Prague and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it can be a bit pricey to visit these expat bookshops, but I'm looking forward to it. I guess to kind of supplement their income, they kind of have a cafe in there with a restaurant, and you can eat American or British breakfasts and stuff like that. But I won't be doing that this time. I don't think so. Jenny, no scones, you're gone. So you're scone. Sonia, you're reading Berman Wood by Eleanor Catton. Okay. Lonesome Dove is brilliant. Everybody says it's great, and it's just one of those things, isn't it? When everybody says it's great, at least I'm inclined to be like, oh yeah, really? Is it? But it is. The hype is it's worthy of the hype. Jenny, yes. Oh, Prague. Yeah, Prague is beautiful. I mean, it's crazy to think that I haven't been for 3 years. The last time I was there was back in August, month after my 40th birthday. I went down there for a really great trip with my friends from work. They had bought me like a hotel room there, and organized this whole day out. And about 5 or 6 of them came down with me, and we spent the time there. It was brilliant. But yeah, it's 3 years since I've been, and it's only 2 hours away, which is a bit silly. But I guess when I think how often I went up to London, when I lived probably 45 minutes away, it wasn't that often. So yeah, I don't really like big cities and loads of crowds and stuff. And I mean, especially going to Prague this time of year will be full of tourists. But at least hopefully I can still know my way around and stuff. Yeah. So, and I do have a smattering of the language, which of course can always help a little bit, hopefully, at least in terms of keeping the price down from those dodgy people who try to overcharge tourists and stuff. So Sean, doesn't show up on your feed. Well, I don't know. Maybe you've got me blocked, mate. Maybe you've got me blocked. I have to ask Sean, have you made a video? Are you uploading a video with regards to the mystery package? Because I'm still really curious to find out what that is. But I'm glad you got it in the end anyway. So, but Jenny, yes, it's well worth visiting Prague. I mean, unfortunately, I think the Czech Republic being such a small country, it's always really defined by Prague. I mean, okay, I guess the UK can often be defined by London, but there are still a lot of places that people do visit outside of London, whereas in the Czech Republic, it tends to not necessarily be the case that people come for any length of time, maybe only just like a long weekend, and they only visit Prague. And it's a shame because, oh yeah, sorry, Sean, yeah, you did say that. It's a shame because this country is really great. I mean, I can't remember exactly how many castles and palaces it's got, but it's more than one for every day of the year, right? So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of fairy tale places, places like Ardeshbach and Teplice, which are like these awesome kind of rock formations, and they filmed, I don't know, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe there, and other shows and whatnot. And of course, there's a lot of English historical dramas and stuff for BBC or whatnot are filmed in the Czech Republic as well, because there's a lot of beautifully preserved architecture. Because I guess they were lucky that during the war they weren't they were occupied, but they weren't invaded to the point where they had to put up a fight or big resistance that led to their cities and stuff being destroyed. So it's great. You can see it very well if you watch Miloš Forman, who is Czech, of course. Actually, Miloš Forman's film Amadeus. You get to see a lot of the architecture. Visit things like go in with Mozart. You go into the opera. He actually performed in, and they film in there. And I've been very lucky to go there. But the second city of this country, Brno, is a really cool place too. And yeah, almost nobody goes there. I mean, it is much smaller. So Prague's got like 1.2 million people, I suppose, whereas Brno has probably got, I think, around 300 and something thousand. So it's quite a difference. I Oh, Bob, you've been to Brno. Yeah, super. Yeah, it is a really, really nice city. I really like it. It's a university town, university city. Um, it's very friendly, and people in this country always say that it's friendly as well. Yeah, I mean Prague is beautiful, but it is kind of tourist trappy, and the people aren't necessarily the nicest. I mean, the funny thing is, all my friends that come from Prague are really nice, but a lot of the people I've come across in Prague tend to be like not that nice, or they're just after getting your money. So, oh right, okay, yeah. Well, I'm sure you have, Sean. I'm sure you have. Years ago, Sean, there used to be this. Before my time, in case anyone said, but there used to be this kind of bordello, or you know, what's the right word? Knocking shop, where they would allow you to spend time with for free if you agreed like it to be streamed online. So yeah, I mean, you could like apparently I was told you could wear like a helmet or a mask or whatever, but yeah, it's crazy, crazy stuff. So yeah, but I think it's better that that was still quite early on from what I remember. I think that was probably back in like the early 2000s, maybe even the late 1990s. I don't remember exactly, but things have changed. I mean, once communism collapsed, I guess things were a bit dodgy for a while, and it could have gone either way. But the character and um, fortitude and whatever of the Czech people, they're very hardworking and stuff. So they've done very well. I mean, it's easily the most successful of all former communist countries in Europe. So economically and in other ways. So that's really cool. Mark gets a house. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I would really like to see that, Sean. I'd love to see you get out of Bedford and make your way here to eastern part of Bohemia. It's a lovely part of the world for sure, for sure. What have we got? Hello, Lenore. What would you say is the national book or author where you are, Mark? Not to start something potentially. Yeah, that's a nice question, Will. I don't know. It's I suppose one of them actually. I have it. Give me a second. I have to disappear for a second or two. Elvis is following me. Where is it? Here it is. So one of them would be this one. Excuse me, Elvis. One of them would be this one here. I don't know if you can see it. It's called A Bouquet, and it's by Carol Yeremir Urban, and it's a collection of folk tales told through poetry. And he was a very popular storyteller, writer, and he was big in the I forget what they call it, the nationalist revival of the Czech lands, because I don't know how many of you are aware, of course, but this part of the world was Austria, and part of the Habsburg Empire, and so German was quite often the main language. I mean, if you read Kafka comes from the Czech lands, comes from Prague, but he only wrote in German. I don't think he even spoke Czech. And then you have people like in the early to mid 19th century, like Urban. I mean, he published this in 1853, and it's kind of horror work, really. But I mean, this would be one of the national works, I suppose. Another would be I've forgotten. Grandmother by Božena Nemcova, who was a female writer. She, I think she was originally from Prague, but she spent a lot of time around this area. And in fact, there's a place not far from me called Babičino Údolí, which means like grandmother's valley. And it was where her grandmother lived. And it inspired her to write this book, Grandmother. And it was about her kind of childhood, spending time with her cousins. And it's a work that all Czech kids pretty much read in school. And I suppose, I mean, there are others. There's Jan Neruda, who I guess had some impact on, is it Paulo Neruda? Because I know he's from somewhere, and I think it's somewhere in South America, but the name Neruda is Czech, and I think he was inspired by Jan Neruda and actually took that name. And he wrote a book called Prague Tales, or I forget the Czech title, something Malostranska, which was about kind of life within Prague in the 19th century. And it's not super exciting, but it does have its interesting moments. Then you have, of course, Karel Čapek, who wrote things like War with Newts and RUR, where the word robot is coined for the first time. So the Czechs introduced the world to the word robot. So that's kind of cool. So there's a few around. I'm sure more will come to me. There's quite a lot of the people I mentioned have connections actually to this area that I live in as well. So it's quite a literary area, which is nice. Bob the YouTube algo has often thrown a bunch of vids at me from Scambuster based in Prague. Yeah, maybe that's Honest Prague. Yeah, it's kind of he's kind of good, but yeah, I mean, there are a lot of scams in Prague. There really are, and it's better. It's much better than it used to be. I mean, I think now, even with things like Uber and these services, it's got better, because before, taking a taxi in Prague was really a lottery, and people would say you could only use this particular company if you wanted to avoid being robbed. And there's generally nothing violent, though. It was just trying to scam you out of your cash, right? And yeah, there are a lot of kind of these people around. You just have to really ignore them. And when you visit Prague, don't go to any of the restaurants in the attractive locations, sadly. I mean, a lot of the ones in like the old town square near to like the astronomical clock and these kind of things, they are going to be extremely overpriced. They will slip things onto the bill that you probably didn't have. And this kind of really upsets me, because it does give like a really bad impression, and the country is completely not like that. Like, if you come here, people are scrupulously honest and genuine and kind and friendly. And yeah, I think they would be embarrassed that people have to go through this kind of nonsense in Prague. I was accidentally kidnapped when I hadn't been here that long, and a group of us went out, and we ended up in a restaurant that actually didn't exist. It was like they rented a room and they got the food from somewhere else, and it was like, yeah, luckily they're overpricing it. Wasn't that expensive to someone from England, at least, and I'd only just come, so I didn't really notice. But yeah. Love the moment someone disappears because they know where a book is. Yeah, sorry. Well, I couldn't stand up because it's too hot. I'm doing a Donahue. I've been told in Sweden you can get brothel visits are paid for if on benefits. Well, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Sure, maybe they make house calls. Yeah, Chilean. Yeah. And you're right. Yeah, Clifford D. Simak is Czech ancestry there. Jenny, I think places like Barcelona get a bad rap too. Yeah. It is one of those things, and I never understand why in all these like wonderful European cities, the main bus station is always surrounded by the dodgiest people. It's like a terrible introduction to somewhere, and the main train station too. I mean, it is literally always full of druggies and drunks and petty criminals and this kind of stuff. And you think, well, why don't they clear it up? If you're arriving, especially within Europe, people often arrive by train or arrive by bus, and it's just terrible. Although I think Florence, the main bus station, is much better than even it was when I first arrived. That's like 11 years ago. And yeah, it's but I'm looking forward to going again. And I'm going to. Oh, I forgot. Will, another one, because I was thinking to maybe ask the booktuber I'm meeting if they want to have a beer there. There's but the problem is I think it opens after I have to leave. But I'll tell him about it. There's a place called the Golden Tiger, Zlata Tiger, and it's the haunt, or the old haunt, I suppose, because he's dead now, of of Bohumil Hrabal. So if you know closely, or I Serve the King of England, this was his haunt. Yeah, he spent time there, and people like to visit there. And it's still, not super overpriced. The thing is, you can find really good places that don't cost a lot of money, but you just have to be lucky and either stumble upon it or someone has to tell you where to go. So that's a nice advantage for you if you can get someone to do that. Every city has that bus station. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Hester, can you think of any novels about pickpockets apart from Oliver Twist? No, actually, I'm not sure. I can't, but of course, that's open to everybody. So I don't know if anybody else can think of any pickpockety novels. Are you thinking of hosting a reading event, Hester, where we dedicate a month to reading about pickpockets? Or so yeah. What was I going to say? Well, I got a couple of new books. Actually, I might as well talk about them. Sadly, I did have to buy them myself, though. But I like to give things to myself from time to time. And Sean and I are thinking of reading them at some point. And it's this Arms for Oblivion series. I mean, the covers are pretty well. They might not be everybody's cup of tea, but they're growing on me actually. And it's by Simon Raven, and it's a collection of 10 novels. There's 3 volumes. That's volume 1, volume 2, and you guessed it, volume 3. And it's kind of like, I don't know, a series of within the novels, a series of stories, I suppose, which have some kind of connection. But it's supposed to be full of, and by the way, Sonia, this is what Sean mentioned to you the other day. But there's some kind of loose connection, at least, I think, between all of them somehow or other. And, the novels don't look particularly long. So this is, what is it? It's about 900 pages, 850 something pages. And it has, I think, 4 novels in it, this one. So the other 2 have 3 in, I think. So it looks kind of fun. Apparently the characters are pretty horrible people, so that's going to be good fun too. I did read the first 10 pages. Sorry, Sean, but because I was just kind of curious, I just thought, and I read the first 10 pages, and I could have carried on. So it seemed like it would really, really catch me. But there's just so much to read at the moment, so I have to work out when to get to them. I don't know. Has anyone watching read these before? So let me know. Probably we can talk about them tomorrow, Sean, in our other live. Yeah, and I put out a video today about Dr. November, which is I wanted to do some kind of event based around the spy novel stuff and also nonfiction and things related to the Cold War. Or, I mean, I say the Cold War, but I think, we can broaden it by, including like the Russian Revolution up to the collapse of within Eastern and Central Europe. I suppose I could have gone on to 1991 if I wanted to collapse the Soviet Union. And maybe I will. Maybe I just wasn't thinking. But I've got so many wonderful spy novels I want to get to. I've also got some wonderful nonfiction I want to read. So one I just pulled out for this is The Collapse, the accidental opening of the Berlin Wall. I mean, it was really kind of quick how it all kind of tumbled down and stuff. And I've always been fascinated with it. Even when I was a kid, I remember watching the scenes on the scenes of the wall falling in Berlin, and then obviously the scenes from Warszawskie Namiestye or Wenceslas Square in Prague with the Velvet Revolution. And the one that stuck most was the the overthrow of Nicolae and Elena Ceausescu in Romania. Yeah, because I was like 9 years old, I think, and I just remember being utterly appalled that they'd like shot this woman. Yeah, I couldn't get my finger around it. So then I found out really she deserved it. So and plus we're all about equality now, so I can say that. No special treatments just because of the fact that she's a woman. But she was a horrific person as well, so probably worse than him in some ways. So let's see what we got. Lies of Loch Lamora. Okay. I don't know that, Jenny. Leverage. No idea. So Sarah Waters. Okay, that's one of the books you're mentioning. All right then, yeah. No, I don't know any pickpocket books. I would imagine Sean does if he's still here, because he does read a lot. He does, he has a quite a vast knowledge when it comes to books and stuff. More than I do, definitely. So yeah, I don't know what. Has anyone got any plans for the weekend? Anything exciting happening? Anybody else heading off to Prague? Going, I don't know, going somewhere, going to the beach, or has anyone got any particularly exciting plans for the summer holidays? I have to say I'm rather looking forward to mine. I suppose they begin in 8 days from now, is it? The last day of the month, 30th or 31st? I can never remember these. 30th, isn't it? So yeah, that should be nice. We have a nice round 2 months off here. So, well, saying that, it's not entirely true. It's actually 7 weeks because the last week we have to go back to school. But so your daughter's getting married. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, so hopefully the weather will be good for that. Civil partnership. So it's it means what exactly? Because I thought you mean just like a registry office affair, or about that's still getting married, isn't it? I thought a civil partnership was just when two people live together for a long time, but I might be wrong. A civil marriage, maybe. Yeah. So registry office, that kind of thing. But still, that's nice. Wouldn't want to do it myself, of course. Quite happy in my bachelorhood. Is that right? Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people just can't understand, and I think the longer I stay single, the more married people I know, the more I watch, from behind the scenes, the more I'm just very content. So it's a legal thing, not a marriage. Okay, right. So kind of just a marriage without the marriage, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I thought that was just. Well, I don't understand it. Still too complicated. Still too much like marriage for me, Hester. But yeah, that would be good. Jenny, my weekend will be finishing the last 3 How to Train Your Dragon books. Hopefully, finishing Killer Angels and the last Strain book in between being forced to work like an adult. So yeah, I suppose if you work where you work, you do have to work on Saturdays, right? Luckily Sundays not, but probably have to work Saturday mornings, which can't be much fun. Do you get an extra day off then? So like you get Sunday, Monday, or Sunday, Wednesday, something like that, or you just have to work 6 days a week? But they don't open on Sundays, Jenny. They don't open on Sundays. I've never been to one that's open on a Sunday. I know other shops and things open on a Sunday. Unless that's a new one. Or unless you're not working, of course, in the, face-to-face desks and stuff. What? In front of customers on a Sunday at the post office? No way. Really? Is that just a Scottish thing then? Aldo going for a swim in Hampstead Pond apparently features in Smiley's People. I don't remember that. Someone go for a swim? I don't know. Oh, I I see. So like the independently owned post offices then, like the that might actually sell some other stuff, maybe that kind of thing. Uh-huh. Oh, hi MJ, good to see you. Uh, oh, also not Aldo, okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm sure there wasn't an Aldo in. I actually know somebody called Aldo, actually. So there you go. Yeah. So we're almost at the end of June. I mean, it's been a really, really fast month, hasn't it? It's been absolutely crazy. I still haven't finished, and I'm not sure I'm going to finish everything I'd set myself up for finishing. But I can be rather ambitious when it comes to these TBRs. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Hello there. So I guess I'm getting quite used to not finishing everything that I proclaim that I'm going to read, and now I have to come up with some new TBR piles of possibility for the third quarter of Historathon, which will be kind of exciting, but I haven't decided what to read. I'm going to have to limit it, though, I think, to one thing per month, because there's so many other things. And I need to come up with my booktube at war, what is it? Pile of possibilities and whatnot as well. So who have we got there? Hey, really good to see you. Good to see you there. Oh, and Mr. Donahue, nice to see you as well. Need any of your tea dumped in Boston Harbor? Well, I suppose we're heading to that time of year, I suppose, aren't we? Yes, MJ, I do manage to still mood read, but I don't plan it. So that I just leave a space, or I just go ahead and do it, People tend to forget that Royal Mail and Post Office are two separate companies. Mail loses your mail and we're yelled at. Yeah. No, I have forgotten that. It's too confusing, all this privatization and everything. So, and how's it going over there in Texas, Randy? It's got to be pretty hot. I mean, I'm moaning about how hot it is here, but I can't bear to think how hot it is by comparison. I know, Steve, it's ridiculous, our neglected S&M journeys. Well, I think we can come back to that in August, at least, because I do want to read Rebecca West's Black Falcon. No, Grey Lamb, Black Falcon. Yeah. And that fits in with August of Adventure, and I think is a suitable, albeit rather large, book for the Stephen Mark Travel Book Club, which has been terribly neglected. You're right. But sometimes our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, so to speak, aren't they? We think we can take on all this stuff, and it doesn't always work that way. You'll need to get your whip out from the Odeon, Steve. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it is coming up to the anniversary of the American Revolution. Is it just about 10 days or so away? No, should I see? My birthday's on the 5th of July, and yeah, the 4th of July, of course, is your big celebration. And what's nice though, here in the Czech Republic, the 5th of July is a public holiday. I'm off anyway because I work at a school, but the 5th of July is a public holiday, and the 6th of July is also a public holiday. So even if I had a different job where I wasn't at school, I would still have both my birthday and the day after my birthday off, which is kind of cool, right? So I could always party hard and never have to worry about the consequences of getting up the next day because it's always going to be a holiday. They might be thinking, what is July the 5th in terms of being a Czech national holiday? It is not a holiday because it's my birthday. It's a holiday because of they commemorate Cyril and Methodius, the two monks that came to this part of the world and introduced them to the Cyrillic alphabet and brought Christianity and that kind of thing. And then July 6th is Jan Hus Day. If you don't know Jan Hus, he was a religious reformer in the, what was it, 15th century, 14th century, 15th century. I can't remember, but there was a whole series of religious wars, the Hussite Wars and things. And this celebrates and commemorates his martyrdom or his being burned to death. They made a film recently, I think. The Czechs, their biggest film. Can't remember the name of it, but it was about Jan Žižka, who was one of Jan Hus's kind of generals, and it stars like a couple of like fairly well-known people. I mean, they got in like Michael Caine for some reason, and they decided to make it like as an international film, which I think maybe was a mistake, but you know, they had to spend so much money on it. They said it was better that they had to make it back by having it as an international release. But Jan Žižka, though, it's kind of a cool character. Yeah, he was blind one eye and he used to wear like this patch as he went into battle and stuff. And then by the end, he was actually blind in both eyes and still carried on his fights and stuff. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, Steve, that you would have a one afternoon with Jan Hus in the men's room of the old Odeon in Leeds. I'm sure he true host. Yeah. Must have been quite warm in there as well, probably. So yeah, no, it's an interesting part of the world here for sure, and I'm very eager to see what this booktuber who's coming on Monday will think of it. I don't think they've been here. I haven't actually checked, but I got a funny feeling they haven't. I know they've been to Europe before, but I'm not sure they've been through much of Central Europe. And I believe they're taking a trip kind of down the Danube and stuff. So yeah, it would be kind of cool, really. So yeah, but it's got me out the house at least, right? So I have to get up and head on down to Prague. Dear. So yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm running out of things to say. Who would have thought it? Well, it's just gone 5. I suppose it's time to get somebody his dinner. And that somebody's not me. So yeah, I do hope. Well, I just want to say thank you for watching. And sorry it's not been particularly long. But although it's been rather long-winded. And yeah, I'm going to head off. It's rather warm and I'm going to... I can't sit in my garden yet, but hopefully maybe by this time next year I will be able to sit in the garden with Elvis and enjoy it, and perhaps even broadcast to you and enjoy the cooler mountain air. Interesting, it's parochial, church dark and werewolf haunted. You should move to London. Oh no, Steve, give me Prague any day. All right, everybody. Thank you ever so much. Do enjoy the rest of your. I was going to say Friday. I keep thinking it's Friday. It's Thursday. Still one more day of work. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will be back tomorrow with Sean. I guess on Sean's channel, a bit later than normal because I have an appointment. So you'll keep an eye out for it. But I think it'll be like probably at least an hour later. So there we go. Everybody, thank you again. Do take care. And you all soon. Bye.